Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be creating our first React project. Okay, so to create a React project, you open your terminal if you're using Mac or Command Pro for Windows users. Navigate to the directory where you want to create a React project and run the following command. So you're going to run npx create React app. Well, my app, and then my app is the name of the project, the name you intend to give the project. Then or you use npm init React app, my app. So my app is the name of the project, the name you intend to give the project. So replace my app with the desired project name. You need to have an internet connection to run this command. As soon as you do that, you navigate to the project directory which is the name of your project. And then to run the project, to start the project, you click, you run this command npm start. When you run npm start, this command will start the development server and open your React project in the web browser on port 3000. So let us go through these steps and see how to create our first React project. So I'm in my command prompt. So I would like to create a folder where that will house all my projects on my desktop. So I will navigate to my desktop environment. I prefer you can use your GUI, but I prefer working with commands on the command prompt. Okay, so I will cd change directory to my desktop. I want to go to my desktop. So I'm currently on my desktop environment. You can see my paths, user, my name, and issues that are in my desktop environment. And I want to create a folder or a directory where I'll house all my projects, all my React projects. So I'll do make directory. I'm going to call it React applications. Okay, so I have this folder now on my desktop. I want to see it. If I do directory, should be seeing this folder I just created now. You can see it, React applications. Okay, so I'll go into that folder, applications. So you can see I'm on the folder, and this is where I want to. The folder is empty now. If I do directory, you can see that it's empty. So this is where I want to create all my React project. So I'm going to be creating a quiz app project. So the name of the project I will give it will be quiz. I want to give my project name as quiz. So to create a new project in React, so really all you need to do is npx create React then quiz. Okay. So you can either use npx or use npm for this purpose. Okay, so the application is running. I previously made a mistake in my spelling, so I've corrected that. So it's npx create React app quiz. You can use npm, you can use nps. So the syntax is npx create React app. So we'll be creating our first React app project. Also, my application is running. So I will just pause this and return back, after which must have finished already. Thank you. Probably give me some time to run. So in order to delay you, I'll just pause this video and allow it to finish running the return back. Okay, welcome back to our create react command, nps command has finished running. And you can see, so if I check the content of this directory add applications, I'm going to see our project, which is quiz. Remember that we named our project as quiz. So to run this project, I'm going to go into that folder, which is quiz, change directory quiz. So I'm in the quiz folder, and so to run the project, you use npm starts. So when you do npm, when you run npm start, it starts the project. You run the development server on port 3000. So this project is going to run on port 3000. So while it's still running, we'll okay. So our project is coming up. So npm start will start the development server, and it will, by default, it will run on port 3000. So you can see our project is coming on. So these are new projects. And if I go, so this is our project. So we have succeeded in creating a new React project. So let us, what we'll do, let us go into our project directory, our project file, our folder, and see what files are actually on that project. Okay, React applications. So I'm on my desktop React application, and this is the folder, which is quiz project. This is a project name is quiz, can remember. So I want to open this project on VS Code. So normally what I do is to go to my command and type code. Okay, so I'm going to open this project on VS Code, and then we're going to run through the project file and see what it is. Okay, so this is our project. This is our project. It's open on VS Code, and you can see. Let us run through each of these folder, each of these files and folder, and see what it is. So the main so here we have readme package.json, package lock.json, gitignore, public node modules. So you're going to spend most of your time on this CRC, these files on CRC. You're going to spend most of your time there. Yeah. So but then let's look at what other files are. So this package.json, this is where you find all the dependencies. If I see currently, we have Node script, React DOM, React all installed on this application. So this is where you find, in this package.json, you're going to find the dependencies your projects are currently using. For example, my project is using a React module, using a React DOM module, a React script module. You're also going to find scripts, your scripting file. For example, in starting this project, I use npm start, and this is what the npm start does. So you're going to find your scripts, your scripts. You can also add your own custom scripts here. Yeah, but these are the scripts that came by default. This one helps you start your server. This one helps you build your project. So if you test your project, so all these are scripts. So in your package.json, you find your dependencies, the dependencies and modules your projects are currently using. You're also going to find your scripts, which is the script you use in actually performing actions on your project. For example, starting your development server, building your project. Okay, so you can ignore this package.json lock. Gitignore. So these gitignore are the folders or directories of files you want to ignore when you are pushing to your Git repository. Yeah, so by default, it has build and other files. Actually, what it means is that when you are pushing to your production, to pushing to your Git repo, Git, any build folder, any folder build, is like your node module will not be part of the folder that will be pushed to your Git Git repo. We are going to see that as we go along this lesson. Okay, so this public folder contains your asset like your images and your images and other assets your project are working with currently. So these two node modules, you will not be coming with this folder, but these are all the modules that are currently in your project. So as you keep adding modules to your project, you find them in your node modules. So your node modules contains all the modules that are currently in your project. So let us go into the source SRC folder, which is where you are going to spend most of your time. So before then, so in the whole of our project, in the whole of our folder, we just have one index file, one HTML file, which is index.html, and that's where React is called a single page application. So it just has us one page, index.html, and in this index.html, we just have a div with ID root, an empty div with ID root. So when you run this application, index.html is run. But then why do we have content here? Where are this content coming from? Meanwhile, in our index.html, you have an empty div with nothing inside. So something must be rendering this. Something must have been rendering this div. So let's look at what is really happening in this React project. So let's go to our app.js, our index.js. When you go to index.js, you can see that we have root, render, React DOM, create. In JavaScript, you'll be familiar with this command, which is document.getElement by ID. So this used to get an element from HTML file. So you are getting an element with ID name root from an HTML file. So you use this when you want to manipulate the DOM in JavaScript. You want to select a particular DOM element or HTML element, a particular node in the DOM or HTML element. So in this case, we are seeing document.getElement by ID root. So what we are looking for, what we are selecting is this particular div element, this particular div in our HTML document. And so once that is selected, you have it as root. And so once that is selected, we are going to render root.render. I want to render this component in that HTML, in that div element. So what it means that we are passing in this more or less like in the JavaScript you will say inner HTML. So we are rendering this particular component in this root. So what is the content of this? What is this particular component we are rendering? So you'll find that in this particular file. You can see it is a component. I'll go my control or command for Mac and then click on it. So this is the content. Whatever this is the content. This is what we are seeing here. It's actually coming from this particular file, which is app.js. And so this app.js is a component. So in JavaScript, a component can be likened to a function. And so we have this function with this page, and we want to render this function in our index.html with div root. So if you go back and look at the index.html, we imported that file, which is app, which is the app file, which contains the elements, the HTML document, the component we want to render index. And so we now selected our div, which has an ID of root in the index.html, and then we pass in that particular component in that div, and so we have it rendered on our browser. Now, to actually understand it, let us go back to our app.js, and let us even delete the whole of this and make it empty and see what happens. So if I If I go back here, you can see it's now empty. And I will just type a simple hello world. Save. So you see hello world. So you can see that this page is actually what is being rendered on our index.html. We can create a custom component in our own and actually render it in that particular in this HTML div element. So what React does, React is a single page application, and it renders component on that particular on that single page based on what you have instructed, what the instructions you have given on your project. So we're going to explore through what component is, and then look at how to use React project to build a quiz app, a more complex application, and see how this thing works. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my app.js, and then so you see we're currently not using this, so we don't need it. Can do with this, and you can see that my hello world is being centered, meaning that it's using this particular CSS, import CSS. So I can decide to remove. If I decide to remove this, it will reflect on. As you can see that my style, I no more have my style. So my CSS was imported. That's why we're viewing it from here. So I'm going to take it back. As we move along in our project, we'll actually see how all these things work together to create our quiz, our project. So just to recap again, I'm going to recap the whole what I've just said again. Okay, so we have our package.json that houses our dependencies and also our script. So the dependencies are those modules that our project are currently using. We have our script that defines operations on our project, like to start the development server, to build our project. And as we move along, we're going to, when you finish writing our project or finish developing our project, we have to build a project to actually use on a production or test environment. So we'll look at how to do that. We'll do that using this script, right? So we also have our git ignore, which specifies all the folders and directories that we'll like to retain. So once we push our project to our Git repo, those files and folders we don't want to push with our project will be in our Git ignore. So our Git ignore ignores those files when it's trying our folders when it's trying to push the repo. We said we're going to spend more time in our SRC, and SRC contains our page applications, our components, and all those content we want to render to our pages. This is where we're going to spend most of our time. And we said the whole of React application, we have just one HTML page, and that is why the React is said to be a single page application. And so in that page, you have only one HTML component, which is the div with ID of root. And so this div is actually where we render all our components based on the instructions we give on our project. And so this public also contains assets like your pictures and other public assets you will want to use in your project. The node module, we're not going to be coming to this place. This is where we spend this folder that contains all the modules that is currently in our project. And so we spend most of our time SRC. We said that index.html, what it does is that they select this particular element from our HTML document, which is the root, and they render this component to this app in that particular root element. And so what is the content of app? This app is a component we'll find here, which was imported from here. This is our app component. A component in React can just be likened to a function in JavaScript. So a function that is being exported, and then we import that particular function or component in our index.html, and then render it to that our root file. So that is what this application is all about. If I go back here to our component, I see hello world welcome to HTML. And if I go back, I'll find it here. And so we also have other files here, like the CSS, which will, if we go back to app.css, which is all the CSS, all the CSS, the CSS that came with the application. We can delete this, we can change it, we can remove it and write our own CSS, which was imported in our app.js. That is, this CSS is used to actually on our application. That is why you see that our application, our hello world, welcome to HTML, is actually being centered because we have it styled in our CSS. So this CSS, app CSS, you can see it's important. This is our component to style our component, right? So we are going in our next lesson, our next section, we are going to move to what is component. What is component? We're going to explore what component is all about, and then begin to build our quiz application from our next lecture.